Alright guys, so this is my first video on this channel. This is a new channel. I actually have another channel called Fishing for Real. You guys can check that one out. That channel is all about fishing. I do everything on the channel. I bass fish with conventional gear. I've bass fish with swim baits on there as well. Salmon fishing, sturgeon fishing, all kinds of fishing on there. If you want to see that one, go check it out just for some fishing videos. But this channel, this is the first video on it, and this is going to be all about throwing big baits. It's something that I'm getting into. I've bought a decent amount of swim baits. I have, a decent amount of swim baits going on now, and so this channel is all going to be, this is just kind of an introductory. This is all going to be about throwing big swim baits for big bass. I've thrown smaller swim baits. So far, I've thrown like 6 and 7 inch baits, like the Huddleston 68, the S-Waver 168, more like the 6-7 inch style baits, and I've caught fish on them, and so now I've decided to step it up and throw the big 8, 9, 10 inch baits, big Huddlestons, the big glide baits, and I decided to make a new channel, a separate channel for this, just to kind of get away from, everything else and all the other type bass fishing. So this is just going to be strictly throwing big swim baits for big bass. That's what this channel is about. So hopefully you guys stay tuned. If you wanna climb aboard on this channel and and see what happens, see what we end up catching, go ahead and subscribe. And there's going to be a lot more videos coming soon talking about big swim baits. All right, guys. So big swim baits. I'm going to be talking about why we throw these swim baits. Why do you decide one day, one day when you're throwing a spinnerbait, a traditional style bait, why do you all of a sudden decide to throw a giant bait? And the simple answer is because you want to catch a giant fish. Baits, like your conventional gear, spinnerbaits, crankbaits, that kind of stuff. Usually with that kind of stuff, you're going to catch decent sized fish, right? You could catch anything from under a pound to, the record here where I'm at, the state record is 12 pounds, I think 6 ounces, and it was actually caught on a Senko. So you can catch a big bass on, your conventional size baits. However, if you strictly want to catch those big bass, you can really up the odds of doing so by throwing a big bait. Because, throwing this, the only fish that you're looking for is a big fish. This is an 8 inch Huddleston here in my hand. And you're looking at this, you're looking at catching fish, averaging fish above 5 pounds. And you will catch smaller fish every once in a while, but it's not going to happen nearly as much as if you're throwing like a crankbait, a spinnerbait. These big baits, they up your odds tremendously on catching a giant fish. Simply because if you, I use this, as an example here. Say you are, you just got off the lake. This happens to me a lot, right? You've been fishing all day long on the lake. Maybe you packed a little lunch or whatever, or some snacks. But you get home, that night, and you're starving, right? You haven't had dinner. You haven't really ate a whole lot. Like I said, maybe you packed a little snack or a little lunch. So you're starving, and you go into your house, and what are you doing? You're looking for something big to eat. You don't want to go in there and eat, a little cracker. All right, you don't want to go in there and eat a little cracker. That's not going to fill you up. A big guy like me, almost 200 pounds, you don't want to eat a cracker for a meal. You want to go and you want to eat, something big. You want to eat a big cheeseburger, right? Or, a big steak. All right, here's your big steak right here. That's what you want to eat, That's what a big grown adult want to eat. They don't want to eat, something small. When they're looking to eat, they're looking for something big, right? So same with bass. When a bass is out there, a big bass, he doesn't want to have to eat, a dozen minnows to be full. He'd way rather eat one big trout or shad or whatever it may be, and not have to waste all the energy chasing around a bunch of little fish when he can just eat one big fish and be done for the day or for however long it holds him over, depending on his metabolism. So that's kind of you know, what a big swim bait is about and why you throw a big swim bait. You know, those fish, those bigger fish, they don't want to have to eat a bunch of little things. They want to eat that, you know, one big meal and be done. They're looking for a big meal. And so when you're targeting those big fish, you know, you got to throw stuff that imitates a big meal. And trout, you know, trout pattern baits are big. The Huddleston, everyone in the swim bait game, you know, if you've heard about throwing big swim baits, you most likely know what a Huddleston is. This is a Huddleston right here, and they're big swim baits, and they've got a different tail on them. You know, they're not your big boot style tail, your big round tail. They got this little kind of wedge style tail, this little narrower tail, and this tail kicks tremendously well in cold water and at slow speeds. So you can throw this out there and just creep it along the bottom, almost fishing like a jig. You know, you could actually drag it. I've seen guys drag them like jigs. You know, where you lift up, you reel down. You know, you lift up, kind of, you know, like a football jig. Like if you're dragging a football jig in deep water, you could fish these baits like that. And it's just gonna slowly. There's a big old bass sitting down there, and it's gonna slowly creep out in front of him. He's gonna swim over to hammer it, and they will swim for these big baits like this. You know. Depending on the water clarity, they will swim a long way to eat these things. You know, usually, for what I usually say is you want like 5 feet or more of visibility. You want to be able to see the bottom at, you know, at least 5 feet. But if you can do that, if you've got a good clarity, a decent clarity in your water, those fish can see this thing. It moves a lot of water, big presentation. They can see that thing from a long ways away. So you'll see that thing creeping, and it's going so slow that they don't have to pick up and shoot over there super quick. It's going so slow that they can just kind of slowly, you know, nosy their way over here, look at it, and, you know, and eat it. They don't have to, you know, they don't have to like chase it down. It's not like a spinnerbait or a topwater, you know, a buzz bait or buzz style bait where you're throwing it and burning it across and have to go chase it. I mean, you know, they just can slowly go over to it. So that's kind of a good soft bait. So hard baits, you know, I throw hard baits too for bass. And here's an S-Waver. This is a 200. It's an 8-inch bait. So it's about the same size as that 8-inch Huddleston. And this bait's fishing differently with the Huddleston style baits or the big soft baits. Most of the time you're going to be, you know, rolling them pretty slow. With this bait here, this is a reaction style bait. This is kind of like your jerk bait. It can become like a jerk bait in, you know, when you're talking about the big baits. And basically this, you throw this out there, you do a straight slow retrieve, and it's going to go back and forth. Just like this. It's going to have an S motion. That's why this one here is called an S-Waver. Has a nice S, big S pattern, goes back and forth. And it looks like a natural trout, you know, a natural baitfish swimming. Now this color here is not natural at all. This is a big bright color. And this one here is to draw out fish. These baits, like I said at the Huddleston, and these glide baits, because of the motion that they have and the size of them, they have such good drawing power. They make fish come out and take a look at them. So this big bright color, you know, they're going to see it from a long ways away. And when they're coming out for something like this versus something that's like trout colored, you know, or natural colored, they're not necessarily a lot of times, I don't think, coming out to eat it. They're not, you know, coming out and being like, ooh, there's a, what that, you know, that's a white trout, let's go eat it. But they're coming out and they're saying, what is that thing? I've never seen that before. And they're curious, and they can slowly come up and swim up to it. Now what happens as you're doing that, you know, nice little slow retrieve, they start getting in that rhythm and they start following it. And the problem is with these baits is you have a lot of followers that don't commit. You have a lot of fish that just follow it, and then you get up to the boat or to the bank, you know, right there, and you can see that fish, and he sees you, or, you know, you run out of room to work the bait, so you can't work the bait anymore, and then he'll turn off, or he realizes, you know, he realizes something's not right, he shoots off, and there goes a 5, 6, 7, 8 pound fish, or bigger, you know, that you just missed. So, these baits here, when they've really taken advantage over a soft bait like this, is you can start, when you're out there throwing it and you notice a big black shadow behind your bait, you can start getting reactive with it. You can start twitching it, and it will be swimming, and then you can kind of give it a twitch, and it will jerk off to one side like so, and that fish that's following it, twitches really quick, and he reacts to it. It's just like a jerk bait. When you see a jerk bait sitting there, and all of a sudden you twitch it, and they hammer it, that's exactly what it's doing with a glide bait. These glide baits are swimming, fish are behind it, twitch, and that quick motion like that, he just reacts to it, and it's fight or flight response. You know, he's either gonna turn from it because he knows that that trout or that bait fish has found him, it knows that it's behind him, and he's either gonna turn from it or he's gonna react right then and there and hammer it. And a lot of times they will do that. You have them fall on it, twitch, they'll come up and T-bone the thing. You give it a nice little reel down, kind of sweep into them with these treble hooks, and you can get them. The problem with the glide bait is that, like I said, you get a lot of followers, and sometimes even when you twitch it like that and try to get them to react, they don't do it. Sometimes they just turn away and swim back. Now it happens with the Huddleston too, but the Huddleston, because it's so realistic, these style of baits, they're so realistic that most of the time those fish, they're going to eat them. And if they don't eat them, they weren't going to eat them anyway. Even if you got them to react, they weren't going to eat them anyway. But anyway, that's kind of, getting into swim baits. The two big categories in swim bait fishing: a big soft bait. I used a Huddleston as an example, and then a big glide bait. And I used of course, these aren't even big. I say big, but these are, getting into swim baits. The 8-inch baits, they're nothing. Wait till we get up into the 10, 12, giant baits. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you subscribe if you want to see more to come. You want to see what's going to happen next on this channel. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.